YouTube told me to start putting things in like lists of top fives and stuff. So we're doing a lot of top five lists, and we're going to talk about the top 5 ways to improve the pacing of your comic. I'm Bones. I write comics. I've got 5 web comics published, and 3 I'm kind of actively working on real hard right now. Check them out on Comic Fury. We got a type for everyone. We got all sorts of comics. It's great. So let's chat. Let's chat. Trip chop chop. Let's chat. Pacing. What is it, and how do I make it good? Okay, pacing is basically the reader's perception of time in relation to your comic, plot, action, all of that. It is a perception. And the secret to good pacing in your comic is that there's no such thing as good pacing, okay? Get that out of your head. There's no such thing as good pacing, no such thing as bad pacing. There is fast pace and there is slow pace. And fast pace isn't inherently better, slow pace isn't inherently better, and they overlap constantly, and sometimes it gets like to be a huge confusing mess, okay? So get that out of your head. Okay, so let's move in to the 5 tips. This is greatly paced. What are you talking about? There's no such thing as bad pacing, including this video. The number one on my list is to get readers. Okay, if you want to pace things good, get people to read your comic. Get your friends, get your mom, get your dad, get them to read your script, because it's very difficult to read your own script and get a sense of the pace, because you're just too in it, man. Like, you're just too in it. The only kind of other option you have other than to get readers is to put it aside for a while and then come back to it. That can give you a little bit better of a view of it than if you're in it. So this goes for generally most things to do with writing, but pace is a huge one. Okay, and when you get readers to read your comic, particularly the scripts, I guess it can be at any point, but like when you have readers read it, ask them to point out the following. Ask them to point out what is boring and what is confusing. Like, where are they bored and where are they confused? Because these are like the 2 biggest indicators of pacing issues. Okay, so when readers are confused, the pace might be too fast. There's a lot of other reasons why a reader might be confused, but pace being way too fast is definitely one of them. And when things are slow, they're bored. Boring is a lot easier to pick out than confusing as being like 1-to-1, but boring is definitely a place where it's like, this is a slog, this is going too slow, I want in on some action here. Okay, so keep that in mind. Obviously there's like more to it, but boring and confusing generally relate to slow and fast. Number 2, pacing is omnipresent in your comic. It doesn't solely exist on a scene-to-scene basis. It's not panel to panel. Like, you can't point at a comic and not be pointing at multiple instances of pace that is occurring. Okay, so basically on a panel to panel level, there is pace. On a scene to scene level, there is pace. On a book to book level, there is pace. Like, you can imagine it now. Like, you're reading a 3-book series and you're like, oh, book 2 drags. That is a pulled out super huge view of one element of pace, but you can move into like a singular panel and be like, man, this panel, like, there's a lot of dialogue here, it really drags. Or like, man, these pages go way too fast. Pacing is omnipresent, and that's why you can have instances where things feel both too slow and too fast, because you're looking at multiple elements of your pacing at once, and you need to be able to pinpoint where you're having the issue. Where is the too slow? Where is the too fast? Where is the boring? Where is the confusion? Number 3, let's talk about actually controlling pace. Size. Okay, pace is size. That's a really simple part of it, but a very big part of it. A lot of your comics pace is in relation to size. So as I was saying earlier, pacing is the reader's perception of time. And if it takes a long time to read something, if it takes a physical amount of time, you're going to be slowing the pace, if that makes sense. So like the length, the amount of panels you put in, the amount of dialogue you put in, that's all going to slow things down. So if you add less, it will shorten it. Okay, if a scene is going along, it might physically just be a lot of pages, and you can make it shorter by having less pages. Pacing is directly controlled by the size of your comic. Keep that in mind. When things start feeling really fast, you might need more comic to deal with that. Which moves right into number 4, where pacing is detail and density. You can't just squish 100 pages into 50 pages and be like, there, I sped up the pace. No, if you squish all of it and it becomes detailed, that also increases pace. It also becomes longer physically to read something if there's more dialogue on a page. Dialogue, paragraphs, anything like that, that detail is going to slow things down. If you're writing a fight scene, drawing a fight scene even, and you take time to draw out the backgrounds and all these details all the time, you're slowing the action down. Not that you can never add the backgrounds in, but maybe when things are going quick, fast, you pull back on irrelevant detail. You know, visuals are information that needs to be like synthesized by the brain, you know? So pull back on visual information and simplify things to create a faster paced thingy. But dialogue for sure is lots of paragraphs are going to slow things down. And there's nothing wrong with that. Reminder, there is nothing wrong with having lots of paragraphs. Fast pace isn't better, okay? Fast pace is just a different type of pace. And we can go slow and we can read a lot of dense paragraphs if they're meaningful. If it starts to feel slow, then it's too slow. But if it starts to feel boring, there's other things you can do. And also, like, different readers have different tolerance levels for lots of paragraphs of text. It's fine. I have some comics that are very text heavy, and I have ones that aren't text heavy, and both are perfectly fine. They're just two ways to tell a story, okay? Felt a need to add that. Number 5 is the thing I opened up with. I don't know why I'm closing with what I opened up with, but yeah, there's no such thing as good and bad pace. That's basically it. You need to think about pace as the heartbeat of your story. When things are like peppin', anxious, or like fighty, you want to match that fast heart rate, you know? When things are slowed down, it's okay to take a breath, slow the pace, slow the heart rate. You need that. You can't constantly have your heart racing. It will explode, okay? Do not explode your readers' hearts. There is no good pacing. Hearts exploding is bad. Okay, that's the long and the short of it, because both are good. Thank you. I hope that helps at all. I think I have some other videos on pace. I don't know. Thank you for watching. I stream. I stream. You can ask me more on live stream or something. I don't know. Thank you for watching. Please check out my comics. I love them. They're my children. Be nice to them. Check them out on Comic Fury, because, you know, like, we could check them out on webtoon, but, like, let's be real, it's webtoon. Like, it's webtoon. Comic Fury. Okay, cool, bye.